Okay, now maybe you can actually hear what I'm saying. I apologize for that, guys. I had to make sure that I was listening to the shows in stereo today, so I had this one muted, and when I turned it on, I heard that one pop, and I'm going to be blasting, double audio all over the place. Oh, what the hell's with my glasses? They're all tilty and shit. It's weird looking. But anyway, welcome to UFO Undercover. I really do hope everyone's having a great morning, great afternoon, great evening, wherever you're on our big, beautiful blue planet. I say this every week. There's nowhere else I want to be but here on Wednesday nights. It's a great group of people to hang out with, and I have a lot of fun talking to everyone. Like I said, learning, teaching, all kind of stuff that goes on in these shows. And tonight we're going to be talking particularly about what it is to be an abductee. We're going to talk a little bit about disclosure first, but we're really going to talk about what it is particularly to be an abductee or a contactee or something along those lines. How is it how do you live your day-to-day life? What is it that drives you? What is it that keeps you going? Just in general. I mean, what is it that allows you to live this way? Because a lot of people can actually. Let me get a sip of coffee here with my lovely daisy flowered cup. It's a great little cup, I got to say. It's been in the family for a while, but it's a good one. But anyway, hi, I'm Joe Montaldo, and if people who know me know I'm really into alien abduction research and things along those lines, and I do know a good bit about the subject. I try not to, to brag or anything because I've been doing it a few years now 36, 36, 37, 38 years. I've been doing abduction research. I started back when I was around 20 years old, so it kind of dates you, tells you how old I am. But, Jack, 48, man, 48, 48. Anyway, but the research is interesting because when I got into this field, how can I say this? I kind of stumbled into it. Well, first, I was in the military. And while I was in the military, I met quite a few people, pilots especially, that had had these weird sighting experiences while out there. And on board the Nimitz, I had all kind of people telling us about different sighting experiences. And while I was on the Nimitz, I had my own sighting experience on the Nimitz. And it seemed to be a fairly frequent occurrence aboard this ship. Now, at the time, it was the biggest, meanest thing afloat in the ocean, but still, it seemed to be odd how nonchalant people were about these events that would happen from time to time. But so that kind of fascinated me. And then, I started talking to pilots. And then when I got out of active duty into reserve duty, I was sent to Alvin Callender Field in New Orleans for where I was going to serve out my reserve duty. Now, in reserve duty, you go 1 week in a month and 2 to 4 weeks in the summer. And some years we actually did 8 weeks because of special maneuvers. But I got to say, it was an interesting experience. But while I was stationed in New Orleans, I was working on not just Navy planes, but I was working on Air Force planes and Marine planes and pretty much anybody who had anything flying, I did the work on it. And because Alvin Callender was a joint strike base, and all five branches were represented there. So, a little quick side story. I remember my third day on this base, right? I get there, I'm sleeping. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. I hear the alarm go off. I'm like, what the hell? This is a base, out on the fringe of New Orleans, out in one of the swamps towards Barataria Bay and all. And I'm thinking, who's invading us out here? The alligators? I mean, really? So I open up my eyes, and I see this V formation sitting down at the end of the runway, just sitting there, glowing this kind of bluish, whitish glow. And I was like, what the hell is that? And then, so I couldn't hear anything. So when I got to the window, opened the window, I heard, I knew what it was right away. Just from the sound of the engines, I knew what it was. It was a Harrier squadron. And they were waiting for clearance to come down the runway. But if you seen this thing from any distance, you would have thought this was a UFO. I mean, it looked like a UFO. It was actually, no, actually it was seven of them. One in point and three on each side. Yeah, and they just came down just like this. They had a nice little wedge V to them. And because of the amount of thrust they were using to stay stationary, it gave them kind of a glow in the early morning light, especially with the like dusky kind of starting to come up. It was strange. It was strange, but I knew it wasn't a UFO, and I was kind of like, wow. But whoever was working the conning tower that night had not a clue. I was like, Lord have mercy, you in the military? This was something a civilian would do. But anyway, it was cool to watch him come down the runway. But getting back to what we were talking about, in the Navy, you hear lots of different stories about encounters And not just in the Navy. I mean, when I was talking to Air Force pilots and Marine pilots, National Guard pilots, they were all telling me basically the same thing, that they'd had these weird encounters. And it was weird because here's a joint strike base with 5 different branches representative, one helicopter or 2 helicopter squadrons from one from the Army branch, and all the other 4 actually had fighters there. So it was a strange place to be, and they were all interacting with each other and talking to each other. So it was just odd for me to meet that many people in one spot that had encounters. I just found it to be, odd. I'm kind of like, really? I mean, that many people have encounters in one little spot? I don't know, guys. It was one of them things that just didn't sit right with me. And I was thinking, why would that be? Or all pilots just have these encounters and we don't hear about it? So I get discharged, from out of reserve duty into non-active reserve duty, which is still reserve duty. I still have another 2 years on call, but yeah, when you do it the way I did, it was 4 years active, 2 years of actually 3 years of reserve, and then 2 years of phantom reserve. So it's like 9 years. It was a decent commitment, but anyway, enough about all of that. But I did get to meet a lot of these people in there, and I got a really good education in electronics, avionics, and electrical stuff, which was really nice of the Navy to spend all that money giving me that education. When I got out, I got my bachelor's in avionics and electronics, advanced. But it was more than that, because in the Navy, if you're a flight deck in charge of anybody on a flight deck, you have to know aircraft recognition, and truly, they really do require everybody on the flight deck to have aircraft recognition. But the people in charge, the officers in charge, not the officers, but the enlisted men in charge, they really want them to know, because you never know what's approaching a carrier. And if for some reason we were radar blind or something, we'd want to know what this was approaching our carrier. So when you hear someone on a flat top say it's unidentified, it truly is unidentified. It's something that nor our radar nor the human eye can identify, meaning it isn't Russian, it isn't Chinese, at least nothing we've ever seen them fly before. So those kind of things kind of ring. You're kind of like, well, that's if it's not Russian, it's Chinese, and it's not alien, because just recently the government, just 2 days ago, came out and said again, oh, UFOs are real, but we don't think they're alien. Well, they don't really think they're Russian or Chinese because we'd go after them. Yeah, no, we would not let nothing Russian and Chinese fly over our airspace without challenging. That's just not going to happen. We challenge the Russians and Chinese all the time. Anytime they get too close to our airspace, we challenge them. So these things are in our airspace, flying around unchallenged all over the place. And even when we hit them, the government knows sightings are going on, like the one in D.C. or the one out in Arizona or the one in California. Even when they know these sightings are going on and have time to respond, they still don't. Well, on the 50th anniversary, what was it, 3 or 4 years? Was it, shit, now I forgot what year it was, but a few years back, the DC sighting made 50-year anniversary, and on that anniversary, the same type of sighting happened in DC, and it lasted for about 35 minutes. Let me tell you something. If there's any Russian or Chinese anything that was in DC and had been there for more than 5 minutes, y'all forget we have missiles on top of buildings there. Well, yes, we do. And you don't have to take my word for it. You can go ride around and see them for yourself. And not just there. When you go riding through the woods where the forts are and stuff, there's actually missile bases there. Missile launches there. Yeah, no, they're open where the public can see them. So it's not like we don't have the capability to defend DC. We do, but for some reason we choose not to. We don't launch any jets. Even though the first one they did launch jets. Now the second one, this isn't funny. So it's there for like 20 minutes. And the military's aware of it because later on the Air Force made a statement about it. And later on the Air Force did send a sole F-16 up to go check it out. It was about 22 minutes into the sighting. They sent up an F-16. Kind of trying to follow suit of the original sighting that happened back 50 years before that. The whole thing was odd. The local media caught it. It made the news. It was on all the big networks. Everybody picked it up in 50th anniversary. But what did it mean? And why didn't we challenge it? Why didn't we launch one of their missiles at it? I mean, it could have been embarrassing when the thing just darted off enough of our missiles sitting there and land on something in D.C., but still, we didn't even try to challenge it. We just said, screw it, we're not going to bother with it. Arizona, this thing, how long was Phoenix Lights lasted? Do y'all remember? It lasted quite some time. And not at any time did any military craft of any type, any missile, any jet, any drone, approach this thing. You don't find that just a little bit odd? Yet Russia just scrapes the Alaskan airspace, and we got 4 fighter jets up there escorting them out. China, he gets close to Europe. We got 4 fighters up there escorting him out. But here's this thing hovering over Phoenix, like, hey, I'm here. You look, hi, I'm here. Hey, look, I'm here. Look, people, I'm here. Still nothing. Crickets. I know. And then on top of that, how many people live in Phoenix? A lot, right? What's the population of Phoenix? I'd have to look it up to be sure. But for the population of Phoenix and the amount of people that saw this UFO, it's not even close. I've forgotten. I'd have to actually ask Lynn Katai because it's been a while since I talked to her. But I know for the amount of witnesses, it came out to be like less than 1% of the population of Phoenix. I was kind of stunned because it stayed so long and so many people did report seeing it. Phoenix population 1.66 million in 2018 is the last time we seen it. So 1.6 million guys. And out of that, a handful of people saw the Phoenix lights. And I've talked about this before, and it irritates the researchers in the field, but I prove them wrong every time. We've had multiple mass sightings, not just in this country, but in other countries and around the world. And we've had them in cities like Mexico City, Phoenix, Arizona, the capital of Belgium. We've had them in Scandinavian countries. We had them in European countries. We've had them in Italy and Spain, in Mediterranean countries, Middle and Eastern countries where they've sat for hours on end. And no one challenges them. No one. And I'm telling you now, I guarantee you most of these governments do not know what these things are. And still, no one challenges them. Not one Air Force that I know of, except back in the 60s, even tried to shoot one of these down. From the stories I heard from a few that were shot at in the 60s, you don't want to shoot at them anyway. I don't think they exactly take kindly to being shot at. Yeah, it seems to hack them off a little bit. And you can't blame them. I mean, you're shooting at them. No, you really are. Oh, coming up too, before I get all into the subject too much, let me see. This Friday, no, not this Friday. 2 Fridays from now, then the following Wednesday and the following Friday. So the last Friday of the month, the last Wednesday and Friday of the month. Let me just do this right. The third and fourth Friday of the month, and the last Wednesday of the month, John Goodwin and Emily Goodwin will be joining me, and we'll be talking about the People's Choice Awards because we have 3 shows up for People's Choice. Now, imagine Amelia Pisano and my buddy Michelle DeRoche will be joining us to talk about it too, because their show is up for the award too. So it's 3 of us with shows up for the awards. We're going to be getting into quite a bit of detail about what the shows are, who the hosts are, what's going on, how y'all can vote, how you can get involved. We'd like to win some awards. We won some. We got honorable mention from iHeart. We've got best broadcaster locally for 2 years in a row in New Orleans. So, I mean, we're winning awards, but I'd like to win some more. Greedy. But anyway, enough about that. Be sure to come check those shows out. John and Emily are always a blast to have on. Kirby, you're talking about, oh no, she's a sweetie pie, yeah. That's who sent me the pad. Yes, it is. And we'll talk about that towards the end of the show a little bit. But anyway, getting back on track to where we were. No, you're getting anyway, you're getting confused. No, it's not Emily. Emily's John's second half. Yeah, the better half, yeah, as I say. No, it's just I like both of them. I think they're both great people. I've had a lot of fun talking to both of them. I think they work really hard at what they do. And I think for a group of people who give out free money, help you to learn how to write for free, hook you up when you do win, because they give 12 writers, 12 artists awards every year for now 38 years, I believe. So and they don't ask anything in return. You don't pay for anything. You don't give them anything. You write them a short story. If you win, you come in. And I love it. One of the things that sold me about these people is the way they judge the story. So let's say you write a story, you send it to them. Well, when they send it to the judges, your name's not attached to it. Your sex isn't attached to it. Your color's not attached to it. It's just the story. That's it. So you made it through the primaries. You get to there, and now these judges are judging this blind. They don't know if you're male, female, or anything. So it's so rare to find people who are doing something for the love of doing it, versus the money involved. I don't know how to explain it. Well, L. Ron Hubbard pays for it all. There's a grant that was set up for this, so it's covered. So I guess they don't, need to be greedy. But anyway, John and Emily, great people. Be sure to come check them out. You'll enjoy the show with us. We always have a lot of fun. We talk about a lot of different things. Maybe we'll invite her on. Oh, she was a great guest. Actually, I wrote her a letter today. Actually, well, I mention her name all the time. I don't know how she wants her name mentioned on UFO shows and stuff. I'll have to ask her next time I talk to her, though. We're talking about a recent guest on Science and Beyond that was on with John and Emily Goodwin and myself. Yes, later on, maybe I'll tell you who it is. But anyway, getting back to what we're talking to. I really don't see where the government is all apt for us to be coming out and giving us the truth. I don't, and I've said this 100 times in the last 3 weeks alone. What are we giving them in return? I mean, why would Uncle Sam admit to extraterrestrials? One, he'd have to explain to his allies why we lied to them. We'd also have to explain to our enemies why we lied to them. And then we'd have to tell them whether or not we had technology, which is, of course, we'd lie about, but they would think we were lying. Even if we weren't, they would think we were lying. And then there's restitution for all abductees and contactees for allowing them to be taken and experimented on, and their children and grandchildren, and so on and so forth. I mean, you go back several hundred years, several thousand years. Sorry, guys. You can go back several thousand years, and to be restitution. I mean, a contactee family line, you could be a multi-billionaire when it's all done and over with. So again, what are you going to give the government? You're going to have to give the government amnesty at the very least. The full, and not just the government. Don't think there's not a lot of non-government entities involved in this. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say companies per se, but individuals from companies. Well, if the Men in Black exist, they're not military and they're not government. They're probably a correlation of people from both. Retired generals, retired colonels, big people from Boeing, Lockheed, some of these other big companies out there. Yeah, and they all just got together. And even there, I bet you it's still pretty compartmentalized in what they know. And I've said this, just recently the government put this out just a couple of days ago that not ufologists, but true researchers, alien researchers, probably know more than they do. I've been saying that for 3 decades because I know a lot of people in the government, and every time I see one of them, they ask me like, Joe, hey, Joe, you got any new stuff? Can you tell me? No, I ain't telling you nothing, dude. Oh, come on, man, tell me. No. But I have said this on air publicly. I have no problem sharing data with the government, not people's names and stuff like that, but I don't have, because they're in it. We're all in this together. You have a group of extraterrestrials, at least 3 different types, abducting your citizens. Whether you want to call it good, bad, or indifferent doesn't really matter. They're still abducting your citizens. They never contacted the government. They've never formally asked these people, hey, Bob, I want to abduct you for the next 50 years. Do you mind? Oh, yeah, sure, man. What are you going to do? You're going to do what? Yeah, but still, it's okay. Yeah, whatever. And since they start abducting at birth or pre-birth, you can't give your consent anyway. Now, I don't want to hear the bullshit. I gave my consent in the last lifetime. That's bullish crapola is what that is. Yeah, that's just some trying to, I don't know what y'all are trying to do there. No, that just doesn't float. No, you didn't. You didn't give it in this lifetime. You didn't give it in the last lifetime. Now you can say your great grandfather or grandmother removed 1,000 times. Maybe they gave them permission. Back when they were scraping skins off of animals and cooking them over the fire outside, maybe they gave them permission to abduct the whole family. Oh, hey, yeah, Mr. Hill, you're going to feed me? Yeah, you can abduct the whole family line. I don't care. I'm just saying because that's where it started. It started way back when. They took original people and they only abducted family lines. I get so tired of people. Oh, they abduct every no bullshit. They don't. There's no evidence to suggest they abduct outside of family lines. None whatsoever. Almost all the evidence suggests they abduct in family lines, and they originally took these people a long time ago. And thanks to the DNA and blood types, not only do we know they prefer certain blood types, we even know a lot of the areas where the original abduction started in clusters. So it's not like in the old days where we didn't know, and we know a lot. What cracks me up is how many science write to me and go, this green-eyed, blue-eyed, RH negative thing bothers me a little bit because, because science today can't explain where RH negative came from. There was no need for it. RH positive was on the world. Everybody was positive, brown hair, brown-eyed, and that was our society. It's who we were. Probably brown skin, brown hair, brown-eyed, and that's, our RH positive blood. And we all shared a common ancestry with the rhesus monkey. That's who we were. And then somewhere along the line, and for some unforsaken reason, Mother Nature supposedly, we're not going to say because I don't think it was Mother Nature, but she creates a new blood type that is anti-procreation. So did she think we were breeding too fast? Come on. Back then, the population couldn't have been even a couple of million. I doubt it was that many. So she couldn't have been anti-procreation because People don't realize this, but for you older people, you know this. For you young people, you don't. But back in the day, from up until about the late 70s, you had to have a blood test to get married in any country because Rh negative and Rh positive can cause stillborn babies, blue babies, whatever you want to call them. And it happened a lot until someone figured out how to create a shot for this. I think they call it the anti-dinogen D gene. But anyway, it was found in a gentleman, and then it was made into a vaccine or a shot that can allow you to have children now. So, but before that, nobody knew anything about that, and it was killing babies all over the place. So here you got 15% of the world's population now that's not compatible with the other 85% until recent times. And you think Mother Nature created it? No, I would think somebody created that had a foresight for the future when they knew that we'd eventually become a scientific species because Rh negative, especially O negative, is the purest form of blood known to man. It's where all of our hematological research comes from. And more importantly than that, it's the freaking universal donor. So before Rh negative came on the scene, there was no such thing as a universal donor. And there is now. And they can give blood. Rh negative people can give blood to anybody, but they can only take Rh negative blood. So technically, that makes their blood type rarer than AB negative or AB positive, which is only 1.5%. And the reason I say that is because ABs can take Rh negative, but Rh negative can't take ABs. Yeah, so you see, technically, it is the shortest amount of blood. And it can be used anything. It also freed up a lot of space in ambulances and hospitals and ships and stuff like that because there was no longer a need to carry, the 4 different blood types, or actually technically 8 because it's AB negative and positive. There was no need to carry. Just stock up on Rh negative. And, it's funny because when I joined the Navy, they made me sign a thing because I am Rh negative myself. And I was like, what? Yes, you can be used. All military is tricky wiki. You got to watch them. There's lots of stuff in these little contracts you sign, like they can do experimentation on you without your permission. Yeah, bullshit. Man, you need to read these things. I'm telling you, if you join the military, be sure you read it. You're going to probably still go anyway, but they got a lot of leeway with you and your body. But nobody knew what any of this meant. I mean, when we started doing this, no one thought anything about any of this. So we decided. I was talking with a friend of mine, November Hansen. This was about 22 years ago, maybe 20 years ago. We were in a chat group, and we were talking about blood types and if there was any correlation to, abduction. And we really had no idea. It still took another 5 years, another 4 years after that, before the survey was launched. It was launched about 2 years before Katrina, so it's 17, 18 years old now. And there's a lot of people that have taken this survey now, and so we've got ICAR's database right now, which is about 68,000 abduction cases on file worldwide. And then there is the original people who volunteered to take the test, which I think if you go to the website is 45,000. And then you've got the applications for abduction, not members, but people who have been investigated that are not members. So they're not we don't call them an official part of the database. Anyway, the blood type count is probably somewhere around 85,000 people have taken it. And it clearly shows that Rh negative by like 66% is what aliens are abducting. Green and blue eyes make up half of all abductees. And what's strange about that is if you watch television or listen to music, you'll notice that at least half or more of all the stars are green or blue eyed, or a combination of. It's an important statement because you have to remember, between the two, green and blue, they only make up 4% of the world's population. 96% of the people have brown eyes, or 94% of the people in the world have brown eyes. Yeah, different shades of brown, but still brown eyes. So it's a very slim amount of people. So it's very important when they show up in these researches like this abduction research, because it makes you think that the aliens are either responsible for the mutation or are tracking the mutation, because green and blue and Rh negative are mutations out of the norm. They weren't originally part of the human species. They mutated. For whatever reason, whatever caused them, whether it was Mother Nature, aliens, or something in the environment, something caused these mutations in the human race. A lot of people think it's when the reptilians, stole the women from the human aliens and bred, and that's what made us. Some people say it's the Greys. I don't really know, but I don't think it was an accident, because too many of them point back to that Rh negative. Um, and then there's the other weird thing that Rh negatives make up 15% of the world's population, and the estimated abduction population is around 15 million. 15%. Yeah, much higher than 15 million. Sorry, about 15%. So, and that's amongst most researchers in the field will tell you between 10 and 15% of the population has been taken. Now, that doesn't mean they're being taken all the time. It doesn't mean they're being taken entirely for life. About half of them, their contact will probably stop in their mid 30s somewhere because they're no longer useful. They'll just take their kids. A lot of those other ones will become keepers or communicators, so they'll go into the public percent, and some of the other ones will be useful for other things. So they may be lifelong contactees, but they're not all lifelong, and they're not all be taken at the same time. It's in waves and sections and groups. And you have to remember, first off, we're talking about three different races abducting people, but large groups of these races. It's not like, it's like three grays may be assigned 100 contactees. There may be 300,000 grays or even 3 million grays working the project. We don't really know. So that puts the population that they're managing much larger than any of us want to think, which in some ways is a good thing if you listen to some of the agendas. But anyway, before we move on to a little bit more deep into abductions, if you really want disclosure, people, you're going to have to be willing to give the government amnesty. The government and its allies amnesty. Without it, there's not going to be ever going to be disclosure because it'll become a big furball. So we, the people, will have to forgive our government for being we, the government, and move on. I don't know if it's possible. When I talk to abductees about this, they're not feeling it. They're feeling like they're going to sue. They're going to go after the government, which you can't really blame them. I mean, the government let it happen. Not that I think the government could have ever stopped this. I really don't. I don't think anybody could stop this. I don't think, no humans alive can stop this. I don't think any government or anybody associated to any governments can stop this. The only people who really can stop this is the aliens, and they do when they don't think you're useful anymore. They use you until they don't need you anymore. It's just part of their program, and it's scary because they have several agendas running, and we're part of the agendas. We're not the agenda. That's what bothers me about this. There's nothing that points that humans are the agenda. We're just part of a couple of the agendas that they're working on. So it's like it's beneficial to us to work on these agendas because whoever's being needed or used, if something goes wrong, will probably be saved. The rest of them probably will go bye-bye. And they talk about the Holocaust dreams and stuff like that. Got about a third of contactees have talking about the things that are coming, how mankind's going to go the way of the dodo bird and stuff like that for the most of mankind anyway. And there's also another thing about disclosure. As far as the aliens and the government's concerned, everybody who needs to know knows. So yeah, because when it comes to abductees and contactees, they know they're being taken, and that's really the ones being affected. So that's everybody who needs to know knows. And if you're in the government and you know, then if you need to know, you know. If you don't, you don't. So again, everyone who needs to know knows. Everybody else is a consequence. If they find out, fine. I don't think the aliens care if the whole population knew they were here. It doesn't seem to phase them anyway because you can't see them anyhow. As far as I know, only people who have been touched by extraterrestrials see UFO craft. And just because you don't know you've been taken doesn't mean you haven't been. If you've seen a UFO, the odds that you've been taken are extremely high because for me, those are trigger events or trigger memories, whatever you want to call them. The old days used to call them cover memories, but they really are trigger memories because something just happened to you. Again, I will refer back to the Phoenix. 1.66 million people, 30 minutes over Phoenix. What, 1,000, 2,000 people saw it? Don't find that just a little bit odd. Mexico City, 24 hours, 22 million people. Yes, almost a million people saw it. But why didn't the other 21 million see it? And this is for every major city, every mass sighting you can find. You will find a good-sized group of people saw it, but you will find a much huger population didn't. 80 to 90% of the local population did not see these events. Why? Because they can't. They've never been touched by an idea. Because again, I'm going to say this again. UFOs don't have to show themselves. There's no need for them, like the Phoenix thing. There's no need for them just to hang out. The only reason you would think the Phoenix Lights thing held that if it was trying to show itself to somebody or if something had gone wrong. But since only the contactees seen it, maybe, and I've tried to tell this to these people before, maybe the event was for them. It's just simply to let you know you're not crazy. You could see this. You've seen it with your own eyes. Because a lot of contactees will say this to me all the time. I just want to see it with my own eyes. And usually within a couple of weeks of that time or a couple of days of that time, They get to see it with their own eyes because they need to know it's real. They need to be convinced. It's like anything else. They don't want to think they're being crazy. So they need convincing. And when you see a craft up close and personal, it's pretty convincing, especially if there's other people with you. But even if there's not, and I have been with groups of people. Here's a perfect one for you. Gulf Breeze, Florida. My wife and I lost 11 days down there. We're not going to get into that tonight, but we're standing. There's a fishing pier on Gulf Breeze Island. That used to be the old bridge that went across, but they made it a fishing pier. So we're out there. Unsolved Mysteries is out there. There's two other filming companies out there. The mayor, the police chief, quite a few other city officials, 3 different newspapers, and at least 300 citizens were out there. So they estimate the crowd somewhere between 400 and 500 people. So we're all on this bridge. Now we see this thing coming. It's green. It's green. It's glowing on the water. It's booking. It's coming from inside the Pensacola Bay. Woo, just cruising along. It comes down. There's 3 sets of bridges there, and then the railroad trestle. There's the fishing pier, the 2 bridges that bring you in and out of Gulf Breeze and to Pensacola, and the fishing pier. I mean, not the fishing pier, the railroad trestle. So it comes out, boom, goes on the 2 bridges, boom, boom, goes in the channel because whatever it is must be pretty big. So it goes out past the last bridge and stops, and it's just like pulsating, glowing green in the water, and it just lifts up, straight up, and you see this like globs of molten gold just dripping off of it, like splots hitting the water. And then it just kind of goes up, goes like you could tell it was building up to take off, and it was like blink, and it was gone. Like a doorway open and closed. It didn't look like it jetted off in any direction. It just looked like it crossed into a dimension or crossed into a wormhole or some type of portal or something. But there wasn't even an actual portal scene. So, to make this clear, no one got any useful video footage. There was some stuff, but most of it was blurry and weird. But you could hear everybody talking. That was cool, though. You could hear a lot of the chatter about what was going on, but you couldn't see anything. Then, I forgot which one it was. I think it was Untold Mysteries. Somebody stopped at the end of the bridge and asked everybody coming off the bridge what they saw. So out of the 400 and some odd people that were on that bridge, 260 did not see anything at all the whole entire time. How's that possible? The other 200 people saw it. And there's audio tape of the whole thing. And there is some video that's, like I said, it's kind of blurry, but there is there. But those other people didn't see it. Gulf Breeze again. Ed Walters. UFO hovering over the high school. People in Gulf Breeze see it. The majority of citizens do not. But a couple hundred people still saw it. Gulf Breeze is a little bedroom community of Pensacola, but still a couple hundred people saw it. But the majority of citizens, a few thousand that lived there, didn't. So the more you delve into this, the more you find that only certain groups of people see UFOs. And when you test those groups of people, you find out that overwhelmingly they're Rh negative, and at least half of them have green or blue eyes. So it shows you right there that they're connected to whatever's going on. And there's no need to even argue the fact because now you have a transition, bam, 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 bam. Thanks to new evidence, we can doesn't prove 100% you've been taken by aliens, but it just showed as a transition from what we've been talking about. So these people who've seen these craft, have had weird events in their life and may be Rh negative, but you can bet your ass they've had some kind of weirdness in their life. Usually it shows up in dreams, but still it's there. And those are the people who are seeing these UFOs. People tell me all the time, well, I've never been taken. I've saw a UFO. I said, well, describe. I said, you saw an alien craft, or did you just see like a light off in the sky? Because that's not an alien craft. That is truly a UFO, an unidentified flying object. I'm talking about, what you saw is not ours. Yeah, you look up at the sky and you go, oh shit, does not belong to anybody on this planet. Then you've had an encounter. And odds are that's either the moment they picked you up or the moment they put you back. Don't believe me? Ask Travis Walton about the conversation him and I had about what happened to him. Yeah, he was a handoff is what he was. Every now and then the government hands off a contactee to the government. I mean, the aliens hand off a contactee to the government. For whatever reason. There's lots of speculation to why. I know on all cases I've investigated, the CDC was present when they were handed off. And even in Travis Walton's case, they were. So, because people get freaked out. Oh, these people in white suits and they're doing this, that, and other thing. I said, well, did they speak or were they telepathic? Oh, no, they spoke. I said, were they taking like samples? And, oh, yeah, like blood. No, yeah, I said CDC probably. Or the secret version of the CDC. How's that? But whatever it is, it wasn't aliens. It's not that the aliens weren't there. The aliens just brought them in. And for some reason, they were letting them return them. I guess every now and then they want to let them process one of the contactees and know that they're not doing whatever to them. It seemed like a peace offering to me, to be honest with you. But, it does happen. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. Probably every 1 out of every 10,000 contactees or so. But I would bet you Whitley Strieber was one. When he talks about being left on the side of the road, that was probably one of those. The alien don't need to leave you on the side of the road and drop you off at your house. Yeah, I mean, car and all. I mean, we know they've taken cars. We know they've taken pets. Let me rephrase the pet thing. No, they don't tend to take the pets when they're at home. Only when they're with you, like when you're traveling. A lot of times they just take your car and everything. And just put it on a hanger until they're done with you, and then just drop you back off. So dropping you on the side of the road sounds like something more like a government would do, so you'd be confused afterwards. The aliens don't so much want their contactees to be confused. They really would like us all to be part of their program, a working part of their program. They understand that the stuff that happens from puberty to 30 is harsh and rough on humans, but it's part of their program, and they do believe it needs to be done. But everything after that and everything before that is very nonviolent and very peaceful. So it's not that they hate us and want to eat us or to kill us. They've just are running an agenda that we're part of. And they really want us to be more part of it. But as, well, one, we're kind of a goofy race. And we just got a long ways to go. We're a young race, 2 million years old. In the grand scheme of the universe, that's like 2 days old. Yeah, as far as they're concerned. As far as the Grammy Grades, more than a billion years old. So what do you think? They're thinking, they're not even 1% of our age yet. So yeah, that's like 2 years old as far as they're concerned. And for the humans and reptilians, it ain't much older, maybe 5. But and you can kind of tell by the way they treat us. We're just like children with nuclear weapons. That's all. So it's a little treated a little. Whoa, a child's got a 50 kiloton nuke. Now let's calm down just a little bit. I don't even think a nuke would take down most of the ships they use. Shit, I'm pretty sure the big ones, it would just charge them up. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they just use it as energy. And some people speculated, on a lot of those bases they were shutting down. They were stealing particles from the cores of the missiles, of the cores of the warheads. And there is some evidence to back that up. In almost all of the places that were shut down by UFOs, and Russia included, the warheads were taken offline and retired. Not redone the electronics. And remember, back in the 60s and 70s, we didn't have this sophisticated electronics. We had swip and click. Yeah, it wasn't like, it wasn't anything really sophisticated that, like today you can hack a missile. But back then there wasn't no way you were hacking a missile. There wasn't nothing to hack. Yeah, it was all, like I said, flip and click. So that's, of course, our stuff today is much different. Well, some of our nukes are still old school because we don't trust the Russians or the Chinese. But still, there are the newer ones. Glenda, the U.S. has the ability to wipe out the world 4 times currently. Completely and utterly destroy both the northern and lower hemisphere, leaving nothing alive on the surface of this planet at all. And of course, with that amount of radiation we're talking, there'd be nothing alive in the ocean either. It would take probably 100,000 years for the radiation to dissipate, probably another 500,000 for life to return. And then you come back in about 1 million years, you wouldn't even know nothing happened to the planet. Yeah, Gaia would repair, but we wouldn't be here, at least not in this form. Oh, there'll be people who try to survive and go underground and go here and go there, but is that the life you want to live? Really? As a society, oh no, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're Xi Jinping. It doesn't matter if you're Putin. It doesn't even matter if you crack a Joe Biden. Nuclear war is not good for anybody. It's not good for the economy. It's not good for your children. And every leader right now has children and families. They don't want to see that go down. They want their power because they're greedy bastards. But in the end, they're not willing to wipe out 7 billion people to get it, because then there is no power, is there? If you wipe everybody out, there's nothing to rule, is there? So I don't know. We're going to face a 3rd world war because it's going to take another world war to unite the planet. But hopefully I ain't around to see it. And I imagine if it's any kind of real world war, if it's like Germany with the new weapons today, if it was like World War II with the new weapons today, well, look at World War I and then look how many people died in World War II. It's a much bigger progression. thanks to the nukes, of course. So today, if there was a World War III, at least a billion would die, at least. And I mean at least, as if we didn't get crazy. If America got pissed and decided to wipe out China and Russia, that's 2 billion right there, or 1.7 billion. But then the fallout would kill hundreds of millions of people all around the world. And that's if Russia and China didn't get no missiles off and kill all of us in Europe. So, in the first day, technically, in an all-out, full-out volley, the first day we'll probably see 3.5 billion dead in the first day. By the end of the week, it'll be closer to 7 billion. And there'll still be people alive. We'll still have submarines floating around with nukes on board to make sure nobody else survives. Yes, and what for what? For what? Nobody wants that. No one. You would think after 3,000 years of fighting, we would have got over this. But we still can't. We still got a fraction and divide. We can't even be a one world government because we just can't get along. It's because we like greedy bastards getting power that shouldn't be there. But what can you do? And again, the aliens don't seem to care. It doesn't seem to worry them. I guess they realize if we wipe out the planet, they get a free planet because they can clean that up. I bet you they got the technology to easily clean up radiation and stuff like that. So I don't really foresee them even considering that a bad thing for us, just other than for the humans. And I guess their contactees, they would probably take off world until it was time to put them back or put them on board a ship or something. I don't think they're going to let their whatever their project they're running die because the humans are too stupid to realize what's going on. And in the Holocaust dreams, most of them talk about retrieval crews, keepers that are on the planet that are upgraded so they go around and make sure all the contactees that are going off world get off world, that they meet in specific groups and stuff. So I don't know. They talk about that kind of stuff a lot. But anyway, let's get into what we're going to talk about tonight. And because I know we've been floating around a couple of things there, but I kind of want to get into let's see what time it is. So yeah, because Daddy Michelle is a taskmaster, man. If I'm late, she's all like, "Let me put the shocker on you and shit." I know you gotta watch it. And Mia, you ain't no better. And then if I don't behave, they send me pictures of food to make me hungry all the time. I know it's like some kind of weird Canadian torture. But what is it? A day in the life of a contactee or an abductee. What is it like to be a contactee? So let's start at what is it like to be an abductee. So you wake up one morning and you've got this weird sense of dread or worry or weariness in your head because you've had this dream where you've seen aliens and them doing stuff to you on board a craft. And this may be when you were younger, when you're older, you might be flashing back, but it really wakes you up and it really makes you start asking questions. And this is how you know the difference between just a regular dream and an awakening dream, that this is something that's going on in your life. And what I mean by that is when you wake up from that dream, you have a thirst and energy to go find out what the hell you're dreaming about. And usually lead you to a specific group or specific person. I cannot tell you how many people have woke up with a dream, went and started doing abduction research, and contacted with me within a month of having the dream. It's a weird thing. And when I tell them, well, I said, if you found me, you must have been meant to find me, because it's not like I go ramming all over the universe saying I do this. I mean, I am out there, but still, for it to happen just like that is a little odd to me, like something's driving a particular direction. But this happens all the time to people. So they have these dreams, and a lot of times it's scary, different things that happen to them. Body parts may have been removed. They may have been taxed physically to do particular things. They may have been put in scenarios where it felt like they were in a wartime situation, or a situation where they had to kill or save someone. These are hologram scenarios, but they're really designed to distress mentally and physically the body, to see what limits humans will go to and for what. Because a lot of the testing seems to be loyalties. And what I mean by that is, so they'll put you in a battle situation, or some type of situation like a saving situation, and how do you choose who you're going to save? Now, for most humans, it's because there's a bond there, so they'll save someone. But if you're in a battlefield and you don't even know these five people, how do you choose? You can only save one of them. How do you choose which one? And I think they're fascinated by a lot of that. How do we come up with that decision? What is the thought process? And it's other weird decisions that we make. They really just want to understand what it is, why humans want to make this type of decision. But anyway, for abductees, this is really scary shit. They're waking up. They start, and the more they think about this dream, the more these dreams start happening. And at first, it'll just be reoccurring 3, 4, 5 times in a month, 6, 7 times in a month. All of a sudden, it'll become more reoccurring, but it'll start adding stuff to it. Other things, other memories will start popping out, and the more you concentrate on it, the more you think about it, the more shit that pops out. And I tell people all the time, get relaxed, light a candle or something, get in a dark room, sit somewhere where you can just just let yourself go and think about this. And a lot of this will come to you while you're consciously awake, which makes it easier to understand. The subconscious is a confusing bitch sometimes, and the way it throws things in and out at you. But consciously, if you're having these dreams are coming back, a lot of times you can make more sense out of it. And always write it down. Because believe it or not, when you write them down for a few weeks, a lot of times they start to make sense. Um, but anyway, so these contactees are really having a hard time. And, if they got a spouse, a boyfriend, a wife, a husband, whatever they might have, you're starting to act a little weird now. You're wanting to miss work. You're cranky. You're aggravated. You're trying to figure out what's going on. Are you crazy? Do I need to go see a psychiatrist? Why do I feel this way? Why do I feel antsy? Why do I feel like somebody's watching me? Why do I feel like this is just happening to me? Why doesn't anybody around me notice this? It starts to become overwhelming, and your brain starts working on overtime trying to figure out what this is. So either at this point you either shut down and forget about it, and I mean you just forget about it. You lock it in a closet somewhere, and that's the end of it. You don't let it out again, because if you do, that'll probably drive you batshit crazy. Others start digging into it, trying to figure out why it is, and that just drives it even more. And then they find themselves in like a frenzy, looking for information and talking to people. And there's so much data out there about this. Some of it good, some of it garbage, some of it in between. That you gotta wade through a lot of bullshit to get anything legitimate out of ufology. Abduction research is a little better, but ufology, I mean, you literally got to wade through a shitload of crap before you get to any truth. In abduction research, as long as you get a decent researcher, you'll get a lot more decent answers, off the bat. But so now here you are, your mind's racing, your body's wanting to get involved. You're trying to figure out what this. You want to tell your spouse, but then you're thinking, oh no, I might end up divorced. Then one day your kid comes up to you and says, "Mommy or Daddy, I thought I seen an alien in my room last night." Well, you instantly get defensive and pissed. So now you're in a position, they're taking your kid, and you'll be aware of it. So next time you're on your ship, you'll probably look for your kid, which you'll probably see, which will just piss you off more. So then now they're taking you and your child or your children, and you still haven't told your spouse. So week goes by, 2 weeks go by, you walk up, "Hey, honey, I need to talk to you about something." "Okay, baby, what you want to talk about?" I don't know how to tell you this, but I think aliens are taking me." "Really?" "Not just me, I think they're taking the kids." "Oh, really?" And now all of a sudden you're starting to try to push it. Now, he or she may think you're crazy or laugh it off or whatever. But from that point forward, you're driving this now. You're trying to prove to yourself. You're really trying to prove it to the individual, but by proving it to the individual, you're trying to prove it to yourself, is what you're doing. So you're really pushing, and you're probably pissing them off and making them nervous and making them scared, because now they're thinking, "Oh, my wife and my husband are thinking, oh my God, aliens are taking them. They think they're taking my kids." And are they sane? Can they be trusted with the kids? What the hell's going on? A lot of times it ends up in divorce. A lot of times the contactee, the abductee, loses the children because they're saying they're being taken by aliens, even though the kids are screaming, "We're being taken by aliens." That just makes it worse, because then they know for sure you've brainwashed your children. So then they send your kids to therapy to try to convince them that's not ever happening, which of course just makes it life harder down the line when they find out that it is happening. So it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. But a day in abductee's life is hard, because they're going through the awakening process. It's when you come out of the closet as an abductee, it's harsh, man. "Oh no, Bruce, it's worse than coming out as being gay." My gay friends leave and tell you that, because I had a friend of mine gay and a contactee. He said it was much harder to come out as an abductee than it was to be coming out as gay. Oh, he'll tell you every time too. Well, because gay is one thing, and we can look at it this way, or people can bitch or hung or whatever, but it's part of life. Alien abductions are not, or are not supposed to be anyway. So it's a little different, but still, it is kind of the same in the fact that you're coming out to the world and telling people that don't want to hear this, that this is what's going on with you. "Well, hell there, Bob. You know what, honey? Last night while you were snoring, Little gray guy came up in the bedroom, grabbed me by my feet, stuck this little pin in me, carried me up to the roof, came back up to 2 kids and a dog, carried them up to the roof, and we all went on a little flying trip. Really, honey? Okay, baby, let's go see the doctor in the morning. It's hard. Now, contactees are different because contactees have come to the realization that they are being contacted. They know they're having contact. So they deal with it in a different way. And they're not always going to go around bragging about being an abductee or contactee. And even with spouses, sometimes they'll keep them at arm's length because they want to keep their marriage or their relationship intact. Contactees just know once they realize, and abductees, will turn into contactees if given enough time, or they'll shut down. Uh, but once they know, they tend to handle it differently. They can incorporate it as part of their life. A lot of them consider it a gift. Once you break about 30, and you realize you have psychic abilities, even at a young age, you can use the psychic abilities. Most of us would, or would do it instinctively. But once you get through the bad stuff, you realize that, hey, this ain't all bad. I have these abilities. I'm learning how to use my psychic abilities at a much higher rate. And you can start using this for your daily job, your daily career, help you to get ahead in life. Know when someone's lying or telling the truth to you. That's why people hate me so much, because I always know when someone's lying or telling the truth. I'm like, nope, you're lying. Nope, you're lying. No, you're lying. But I also do voice stress analysis, so that helps. Yeah, but the reason I took voice stress is because before that, I was really good at telling who was lying. And I've also had courses on facial recognition, body language, and stuff like that, several. But that was for companies I work for. Yeah, so really, when I tell you I can tell you if you're lying or telling the truth, you can pretty much take it to the bank. It's like, yeah, my friends used to hate me for it too. I said, you're lying to me. No, I said, you're lying to me. I said, you want me to put you on a voice stress? You're lying. All right, Joe, asshole. It's just one of them things. Um, but so, abductees just have to fight it and deal with it every day. That's why we try to find them. It's one of the reasons the blood type study was even done. Not just that, the career studies. There's 16 different studies running on the ICAR site that's been there. Most of them have been there from anywhere from 15 to 21 years. That's how long these polls have been, well, not polls, but these studies have been running. So there's lots of data involved in this. And I remember November Johansson put the Mosaic report together about the grades. It was a really good one. As a matter of fact, it's still available on the website even today. And since then, we've learned a lot more. That was about 12 years ago. And since then, we've learned a whole lot more. But when it comes to this, we know a lot about extraterrestrials these days. And when it comes to, abductees, yes, they got to deal with this. And they have to make a conscious choice somewhere along the line. Do I want to go forward and let this consume my life and hopefully I can handle it? Or do I want to shut this down and just pretend like it's never happened? And really, once you shut it down, they won't let you remember anything. You won't see UFOs, and you won't see anything. You'll just go back to whatever little boring life you had before that, or exciting life, whatever it was. And that'll be the end of that. The only reason they even let you see anything is somewhere doing contact, you showed them that you might be useful, or you might have an interest in what they're doing. That's the only reason. Everybody else, they just shut down and send back. There's no reason to let you see this, that, or the other thing. And a lot of the old trigger memories, a lot of the old cover memories were probably MILAB, not alien. Because the government's a little bit more sloppy about the way they cover their memories up. That's why they take MILABs. So they can find out who the hell. They don't have any other way. It's not like the aliens are telling them anything. Well, hey, Biden, I'm Bob the Gray. Let me tell you, you suck as a president. Matter of fact, your last 10 presidents sucked. But I just wanted to tell you that because I'm Bob the Gray. Yeah, Bob don't want to talk to Biden. He thinks he's a cracker just like we do. He don't want to talk to Putin. He thinks he's an insane psychomaniac. You don't want to talk to Ping. It's another insane psychomaniac. Why would they want to talk to any of these? We don't want to talk to these guys. So why would an advanced extraterrestrial race want to talk to them? I mean, there's not many leaders on the planet that we find solace with these days. Most of them are just, we're trying to wonder how they got there. Y'all voted for him. Really? Well, nobody would have voted for that ass. But still, somehow they magically get into office. And there's no real way to challenge anything because it's always the same thing. There's no voter fraud. No, there's no voter fraud. Oh, no, there's no voter fraud. Not so voter fraud at all. Well, you know what? I think there might be a little bit of voter fraud. Before he writes to me, I'm not talking about this past election. I have no idea what I'm at. It doesn't bother me either shape, manner, form, or matter. Not really. I didn't vote for either one of them, so what can I tell you? It's not that big of a thing for me. Now, if it's cheating, it's a big thing. But you got to prove that. You can run around all day say cheating, and I don't know if it happened or not. Maybe we could ask the extraterrestrials, but yeah. Well, I can say extraterrestrials are purple, but I still got to prove it. Somewhere along the line, I'm gonna have to prove. Oh, well, you know what I mean? Them extras are purple with pink eyes. Well, yeah, well, Joe, we want to see that, man. Yeah, so it's the same thing with all the rest of that stuff. The contactees, on the other hand, they have a different understanding. They've have contact with the aliens. They're getting downloads. They're starting to understand programs. They're being brought on board the ships for several different lessons and several different things. A lot of them have quarters on there. They even have what we call brain storage, which is like how you have hard drive storage, like you like rent storage from somebody like Microsoft Online. Well, this is almost the same thing. It's rental storage, not rental, but it's storage for your brain. When you're on board the ship, their brain power, the way it works is they got way more. You learn way more than your human brain can handle, and some of the stuff you use can only be done in either a hologram or one of the upgraded bodies that they loan you from sometime. So all that stuff has to be stored in the computer on board the ship. Now you can access all of it, and as long as you're nearby it or on board it, you can access it through telepathy. That's how it works. It's just so instead of having it stuck in your head, your brain can run it without actually having it in your head. Now you can download it into your brain, but that's in one of the host bodies. I think the brains are 2.5 to 3 times the size of the ones we have. The bodies are a lot like us. I mean, they look like us. They're designed to be us, but usually maybe a little wider, a little taller, a little stockier. I really think it depends on what planet you're going to, because people describe these bodies always the same way, described in these glass tubes, stationary, standing up, and sometimes there'll be children there or other people. But what's funny about this, you hear one lady said, it was me, but it was a different version of me, maybe an older version of me, different type body. And then sometimes they'll tell you that the body's it's them, but at a younger age, like 10 or 20 years younger. And sometimes it'll be the kids there. They say that's so when you die, they take you and they put you back in those bodies until you're needed again, or unless you're going to an off-world colony or something. So they say they're specifically designed to be you, with no human DNA, not at least as we've seen human DNA, but faster, stronger, smarter, brighter, and much longer lifespans. You mean for like chosen ones? I don't know if I'd call it chosen ones. For whatever reason, that contactees and or families are taken. Nobody knows what the original reasons are. All we know is it did happen. That originally they took a bunch of people, and those family lines are what they abduct from today. And what's interesting about that is even if they took only 100 people, we know it's probably more than that, but even if they only took 100, the average family back then was 10 kids. So they took Jack had, they took Jen, she had 10 kids. And then each one of her kids, she had 5 females. They each all had 10 kids, and the sons all went and got somebody pregnant, had 10 kids. That's 100, just from the one family, and then that grows to the next family, grows to 1,000, the next family to 10,000, to the next family to 100,000. It's not quite that fast. It'd be about half that fast, but it'd still be around 50,000 after just 6 generations or 7 generations. And then of course it slowed as it got closer to today, but it wouldn't really matter because you had 1,000 people doing that. So where we said there was 50,000, that would have been 5 million. See what I'm saying? So, and they're all out there marrying and intermarrying and having children and stuff like that. So that's what created the 1.5 billion or more abductees on the planet today. And that's how it progressed out. It started out from a handful, and it's come to where it is today. And they abduct everyone. Like I said, they're not going to abduct them all for life because not all of them need to be abducted for life. Not all of them are going to fit the program or things they need from them. So those will start being abducted at whatever age. And then as long as they don't have children, they'll never see the aliens again. If they have children, they'll be back to get the kids and the grandkids and great-grandkids and so on and so forth. They're looking for something specific, or they're designing something specific. That's a good question. If I told you that, they would kill all of y'all. And since there's a lot of people logged in tonight, we don't want that to happen. Yes, I don't want that on my soul. I'm just saying I don't want that on there. There's just a lot of things they're looking for. It's not so much that they're looking to make us into a warrior race. They wouldn't really have to do all that much to change us to be that. And giving us better body. They're really like, here's one of the things that they'll talk about on board the ships. And also, one of the ways they create art is through thought. So, but sometimes they use technology. So there'll be like a sculpture tool. You'll think about it, and the sculpture tool will cut out whatever you're thinking about. Or it'll do the same thing with paint. You can even write music that way. It's a very strange way. It's like it's pulling it straight out of your head and putting it into whatever you're thinking. They say it works really well. And it also lets people with no artistic ability be artists. Yeah, I mean, I can't even draw a stick man. I can only imagine what I would do with a chisel and it's a rock, be pumpkin head or something. No, but see, with something like that, even I could whatever was I was thinking about could be put on, made into the stone, or into the paper, or into the wood, or into anything. I guess that any medium that they would use, kind of like one of those digital printers today, in a way. Ones the ones that print with plastic. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's kind of in a way just that's just way less advanced than what we're talking about, but still, it kind of helps you understand what we're talking about. So, as a contactee, you start to deal with this. You realize, hey, my kids are being taken. You'll start handling your kids in a different way. A lot of times they won't directly talk to their children about it. They'll let them approach them, but they'll know the kids are having contact. They'll know when they've had contact. So they'll deal with their child in a specific way because they know they've been taken and what they've been through because they've been through it themselves. So they'll deal with that. They'll deal with the spouse accordingly. They'll deal with work accordingly. And really, for the most part, once a contactee comes to terms with this, they really start to excel their life. So you can kind of tell abductees sometimes will have junked up, messed up lives because it's just a lot to deal with. I mean, go through puberty and find out you're an abductee at the same time. Jesus, I mean, puberty is hard enough, and your 20s is hard enough without knowing that some alien's taking you and doing weird experiments to you. So I imagine it's the reason they block as much of it out they do, but still, it would be hard. So that's why a lot of abductees just decide to hide it and bury it and go away. And sometimes later on in life it might come out, but for the most part, usually when they do that, it's a done deal. But contactees come out and they talk about it and they work with it, and they've learned who to talk to about it and who not to talk to about it. And sometimes they'll approach someone because they think they may have seen him or met him. If I had $1 for every time I've met a contactee who saw me or dreamt about me or seen me dressed a particular way, or that I've heard someone else say that they've met someone on the ship and this is what they look like, and this is what they dress, and then they met them in person, it's exactly what it is, I could be retired, people. It's a weird phenomenon. And put in perspective, I was talking to a lady one night, and it was just as a weird conversation. I said, your voice sounds really familiar. So let me ask you something. I said, don't take this the wrong way. I said, because it's going to sound a little bit personal. I said, but when you sleep at night, do you sleep in a brown plaid shirt with pink underwear with these little red hearts around them? And she just got quiet. I mean, like, shh. She's going, oh my God, this guy's a pervert. And she comes back and she said, yeah, it's a little personal. She said, why do you want to know? I said, because I'm pretty sure I saw you on board a ship. And I said, when you did, you had this really weird green thing wrapped around your head and tied into the back of a ponytail. And she freaked. Because there's no way I could have known that. No possible way. I was 5 states away. Well, they're in California, so I was 6 states away. No way I could have known that. Then we got to talking about things that we knew about. And she's like, how can you know about my family? Because I've talked to you on board the ship. I said, you've given me lots of information. And when you get this, and that's also something that helps transform people because they're like, well, this has to be real because there's no other way this person can know this about me. It's not like I'm hiring people to go spy on people or something. It's a strange thing, too, when you meet people like that. Because even when you both know you know each other, you still want to be standoffish about it. Because how do you approach me? Oh, hey there, Jenny, I met you on board the alien craft, and I'd like to talk to you about what we talked about. Really there, dude? Okay, all right. Get the hell away from me. Yeah, it's a tough thing. But contactees usually, once they accept it and deal with their lives really become better. Contactees, abductees have addictive personalities. They'll get in a lot of trouble from drug addictions to alcohol addictions to sex addictions. They're just looking for answers. They tend to bury themselves into religions or into dark arts or to white arts or anything they think they might, new age, mysticism, anything they think that might give them an answer. But none of that's going to give them an answer because that's not what's going on in their life. What's going on in their life is they're having contact. And trying to turn it into something else is just not going to work. You have to deal with it. It's like when psychics tell me, "Oh, well, I've never been contacted." Well, you're a liar, because if you're a good psychic, you're an abductee. I've never met one that wasn't. Under hypnosis or under voice stress, I've never met one that wasn't. Yeah, because I think it's a prerequisite. It's probably one of the things they were looking for when they abducted the first group of people was your psychic abilities. So they didn't have to develop them, so you could develop them. And I've just honestly, anybody I've tested that has good psychic abilities turns out to be an abductee or a contactee. Hey, I don't make the rules here, people. I just follow them because we're looking for answers. All right. Well, I got all these text messages and all these. Whoa, people. That's cheating texting me on my phone. Only a handful of y'all got my damn number. Uh, oh, yeah. That's some other crazy person I know. Oh, hey, sexy daddy, I have a gift for you. Uh-oh. I get more spam mail now. And I love these spam calls I get today. It's like, yeah, this is the IRS. This is the Secret Service. I'm like, really? Secret Service would have just kicked to my door in, people. I don't think they'd call me on the phone ahead of time. Or the Social Security one. This is the Social Security office. No, they're not going to call you. They're going to give you a letter first. Then they might send the IRS out to get you. But, it's just so much of this crap out there. You get all the spam in your emails. And I'm constantly, unsubscribing, deleting, get rid of this, get rid of that. Writing nasty letters. People, please do not spam my email. Stuff like that. But anyway, getting back to what we were talking about. Today being an abductee is different because coming out is not as bad as it was. I wouldn't, to answer a question to someone who knew I was doing this show tonight, I wouldn't come out. It's easier for people like me because I have have two jobs. I have the radio station and I have my day job, which I own maintenance solutions. So doing my job is different. And most of my customers really don't care whether I've been taken by an alien, probed by Bigfoot or whatever. As long as the price is good and the job is good, that's what they're interested in. It's not like we're best friends or personal buddies. And I am friends with someone, but still, it's not an interest of theirs per se, unless they've had some kind of weird paranormal or extraterrestrial event. It's just, judge your job, thank you, whatever. Here's your money, good job, whatever. And that's fine by me. And it's so done. But when you work for somebody, it's different. I've had several friends lose job. I lost a job over way back when I was I think I was 29 or 30. I lost a good job over it too. But still, I've had other friends and other family members lose their job because they came out. A friend of mine made an audio video of his abduction and lost $100,000 a year job. So, well, we can't have crazy people here thinking aliens took them. And what got me is he sued him, did get a settlement, not a lot, but did, but still didn't get his job back. It's part of the world today. But for most contactees, they do just measure out. Abductees need help. So if you find someone that is in this, I'm awakening, I'm coming awake, my mind's racing 100 miles an hour, I'm looking for answers, just send them somebody reputable, somebody that's going to help them out. So it doesn't necessarily have to be us. I mean, we get lots of people who contact us regularly, so it's not we don't. It's not like in the old days when we were out actively looking for abductees. We don't have to anymore. They find us, but still, that is what a lot of the studies are about: is finding them and verifying them. We wanted a way to identify people who did not know they had been taken as alien abductees. Is what we were looking for. By being able to listen to people, check out people the way they're acting, know things about blood types and DNA that would help us to understand this. And today we really can look at an individual, and as long as we got certain information, pretty much find out if they are being taken or not without them actually knowing they're being taken. So it's been an ongoing project for, like I said, 25 years, but still, it's still in works today, but it does help a lot. Jennifer, just because you have Rh negative blood does not mean you're an abductee. No, it doesn't. How can I say this? It really increases your chances like 70%. And we can't prove that all Rh negative people aren't abductees, but 65% of our base group, actually 67% of our base group, which is 80 to 100,000 people, but there's a lot of other groups out there, say that, 67% of them are Rh negative. And out of that 67% Rh negative, almost half of them are O negative. Strange little situation there, isn't it? I don't know what they're looking for. Or I don't know if they're looking for something or if they're engineering something. I mean, remember, they brought the Rh negative on, not us. Well, Christopher, the green and blue eyes might be a marker to help them identify people who may already have this mutation that they've created. Yes. No, because researchers don't think like I do. The majority of researchers in the field do not think the way I do or the way the organization does. We look at this from a much different point of view than anybody else does because we're looking for the truth. We're not here to make money. We're not here to get egos. We're not here to get famous. Most of us already have decent careers, and this actually gets in the way of our careers more than it helps them. And most of us spend more money on this than we make on it. So that's not what we're in this for. We're in for the truth. We want to know why they're being taken, why our citizens are being taken, what's being done to them, what's the long-term goal, and when is this going to stop, if it's ever going to stop. Or is it just going to get worse? Or is it going to get the same? Or is it going to stay the same? Or is it going to get, these are all things we want to know. We really, 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 really want to know why they're here. We know they've been here a long time. Evidence suggests that this planet's been visited for at least 65 or 70 million years, thanks to the Pravada map. We know because of other things that are found in cave drawings on at least 50 to 100,000 years of humanity they've been here for, if not more. So this is a long-term goal for them. And remember, their lifespan is different than ours. So for them, when they look at a human who lives maybe 70 or 80 years, it's like a mayfly to them. It's like a day in their life. I mean, here's an alien that can live probably a million years in one stretch, but has the ability to upload its consciousness into a new body. So you don't know how old they are. They could be 10, 15, 20 million, 100 million years old as far as you know. They're an ancient race with an ancient bunch of people. So they can easily follow your family lines thinking, that Melinda person over there is only going to be about 80. So I guess 2 days from now, I'll have to get a new contactee. Yeah, because lifespans are different for them. They view it differently. And in a lot of ways, they consider us mayflies. We're here, we're gone, we're here, we're gone. I mean, it's a grand scheme of things. We don't even live as long as some of the plants on our planet do. Shit, for that matter, we don't even live as long as some of the animals on our planet do. You got to kind of wonder about that. Well, reptilians mainly. I think dolphins live about the same as we do. Elephants a little less than we do. Yeah. It depends on the dolphin species, actually. Some live longer, some live about the same. So, I mean, it's just... But here's races that live far longer than we do, have far more knowledge than we do, and simply are tracking what they're doing with us. And by knowing, and this is what kind of freaks people out. So the Greys that's abducting Gene today is the same Greys that was abducting Gene's great-grandparents removed 100 times. It's the same people. So they know your family intimately, much better than you would ever know. They know your history better. They know who you are better. They know your health issues better. They know your mental states better. They know all of it because they've been following you for that long. And if reincarnation is true, then they've witnessed reincarnation amongst their own contactees inside their own family lines, if it's true. And I do emphasize if. So doesn't it kind of put a different swing on things when you can live long enough to witness reincarnation in a race? Well, no, Chris, because whatever it is, whether it's a day or 100 days or 100,000 days or 100,000 years, it doesn't matter. That Gray who's been abducting your family since the project started. So if it started 100,000 years ago, he's been abducting your family that long. He's witnessed all of that. So if your family started out with X amount of people and they're all being reincarnated, he's seeing the reincarnations of these people. He's probably interacting with them, knowing who they were in a different life. If reincarnation is true or real. And I emphasize if because for my own personal beliefs, I kind of lean more towards the multiple dimension theory than the reincarnation theory. Well, it's kind of the same, but it's different. It's just it all happens at one time versus spread out over how many other lifetimes. Yeah, because it is. It's a million billion lifetimes, but it's all happening basically at the same time. And then everybody dies and snaps back into one soul. That way you get to witness, you can try everything in the universe, good, bad, and indifferent. See, that's what I never did like about, at least with reincarnation, you're progressing forward or trying to progress forward. And dimensional stuff, you're not. You're just doing it all at one time. So good, bad, whatever's in between. There's a lot of in between, a lot of the gray zone, which y'all can always catch on Saturday. The Gray Zone Uncensored, Mrs. Michelle Dochery and Joe Montaldo. Right now, we're in disclosure this month until the end of the month, and then we'll be getting into some serious stuff. Maybe we might start doing some what scientists can't explain on the planet. I'll talk to Michelle about that for the shows in July. But right now in June, we are in disclosure month, so we are still disclosing information left and right. Mark, I don't. You mean, do I think Joe Biden's going to get on PA and go, "Good evening, America. Guess what? You've been probed." No, I don't think he's going to. Half the time, I don't even think he knows his own damn name, and Kamala's an idiot. And I will say this. At least with the last crazy guy that was in office, he made this stuff. I've never seen a president keep his word like this guy did. So he said if there was stuff to disclose, he would get it disclosed. No one in the field. First off, most of the people in the ufology, not in abduction, but in ufology, are liberals anyway, so they weren't going to believe anything he said. But somehow or another, he slipped this into the last stimulus bill that forced the Pentagon to release this. This is the president that everybody hated. The first president that ever got real disclosure done. I'm confused now. Oh, actually, Chris, I didn't vote for either one. I'm sorry. Sorry, dude. I don't really want to get into that, but I got to say, I didn't vote for presidents in the last two elections. It's the first time in my life I didn't vote for presidents. Yeah, I don't want to get into that. No. I got my reasons why, though. No. I've actually liked some presidents, both Republican and Democrat, and I voted both ways. I got a firm thing. It doesn't matter what I'm voting for. I vote my conscience. I don't vote parties. Only losers vote parties. Sorry, guys, but it's true. Only losers vote their party and don't do research to see who the best candidate is. The best candidate is not always from your party. Sometimes they're independent, sometimes they're centralist, sometimes they're from the other party. But if you would put good people in instead of party line people, we'd have a better country. Okay, enough about all of that. That's why I'm a centralist dude. That's why I host Essentialist. Which again, by the way, we'll have Emily and John Goodwin. We won't be talking politics, by the way. We will be talking People's Choice Awards for Writers of the Future show. And this show, not this show, the Centralist is up for an award, and so is the Outer Realm. Yes, they are for an award. Mm-hmm. That is the wonderful and fabuloso Michelle DeRoche and the outstanding and crazy Bubbles the Great, better known as Amelia Pisano. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, thank you. I can do Italian when I want to, not often. So, wait, hold on a second. Before we start Q&A, and hold on. There was a couple of things I want to say, but we'll make it some Q&A. Well, you know what? I'll take a few questions, and then I get something I want to finish up with. So let me get my glasses on so I can read better. So we got the email open, we got the multi-chat rooms open, and we've got the Pal Talk open. Okay. So let's see. Sorry, guys. I don't know why I'm trying to lose my voice tonight. Apologize for all that. So, JB, what do you got for us, JB? Okay, so you think you're a contactee. No, you think you're an abductee. I'm sorry, I see what you just wrote. So you're having these dreams. You're starting to have them. It was showing up about once every couple of months. And then you noticed that you thought it was reoccurring. And then once you realized it was reoccurring, it started showing up like bi-weekly. And now it's every third day or so. So, what is it? Can you? I know it's going to be too much to write out. Can you just give me like a brief? While you're doing that, I'm going to answer Clara Reese's question. Hello, Clara, baby. Woo-hoo, what you doing? Full disclosure is not going to happen. I don't. To be frank, judging from what I've seen the government release in the last 3 days, I don't think they can full disclosure. I don't think they know. No, I don't think they know. They wouldn't they wouldn't do as many millabs if they knew what was going on. Yeah, it just suggests that they're looking like the rest of us. What? They don't abduct LGBT. My ass. They abduct everybody. They don't care if you're gay. They don't care if you're in jail. Who the hell? Look, we don't like bigots on the shows. I'm just saying ahead of time. No, they don't care. They don't care what color you are. They don't care what sex you are. They don't care who you sleep with. If you're part of their program, your ass is being picked up. Yeah, it don't matter. You could be in jail. You could be at home. You could be driving your car. You could be flying a freaking airplane. If it's your time, they're coming to get you. Yeah. Well, who told you that? Who told you no gay people have ever been abducted? What? Okay, that's not true. And there are people out there that are abductees. Let me think right off. Who can I think right now that's in the field? Cheryl Costa. Go check out Cheryl Costa. Yeah, she's an abductee. Yeah, you'll just read up on her. You know, I don't want to get into all of that because it's not what the show's about. But just read up. She's a friend. She's been on the show many times. Check her out. Her wife's name is Linda, and just go check it out, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's not the only one, but I don't. It's not what the show's about, so I don't want to get into it. But it's yeah, they abduct everyone. They don't care what your sexual thing is now. I don't think they care. They might think it's funny, but I don't think they care. What do you mean? Are aliens gay? First off, probably not because they probably look at things differently than we do. And if they are, they haven't showed it in any way. They're not real big about showing their sexuality. And as best we can tell, both the male human aliens and the male female aliens seem to sleep with females on this earth, and females of those two races seem to sleep with males on this earth. So I haven't been reported any gay interaction. How's that? Doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Doesn't mean it. I just say I haven't been reported any. Because they abduct gay people. I don't think they care. They don't care. If you're part of the program, you're part of the program. That was okay. That was just a cheesy thing to say. No, and I'm not going to say that on air because that was a loser kind of thing to say. Matter of fact, watch this. This is called a bounce. Uh-oh, you're gone. Anyway, another one bites the dust. I should have played the music. Another one bites the dust. I'm not putting up with the bigotry bullshit. Like the aliens even care. I'm not even sure if they actually know. Yeah, I don't. I just don't think they care. Anyway, getting back to the other question, or getting back to what he's saying. So, yeah, I mean that does sound like an abduction. That's what it sounds like, and you probably are going through the awakening. Best thing to do, write to ICAR@cox.net, and I'll see who I can hook you up with in your area. Where are you exactly? Northeast? Yeah, I got somebody up there that can hook up with you, and maybe y'all can talk this out. Well, I'm gonna tell you the same thing for anything. It's whether you're an alcoholic, whatever it is. Talking always helps. It also helps to bring more memories out. Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, it does help to get. It helps you reclaim more memories just by talking about it. There's other ways to recover memories, but we always tell people the same things. Try some light meditation. Formulate your thoughts, things that you've been showing up in your head, write them down on something. Sit down in a nice, dark, quiet place or somewhere really pretty, somewhere relaxing, somewhere that makes you peaceful at mind, and just start working through this and seeing what you can recover. If that's not enough, find other contactees and abductees, sit down and talk with them. Don't necessarily think what's happening to them is happening to you. Just talk to them because it helps to release memories that you have. You'll start talking and memories will start coming out. If you get to a point where you can't get past that, get with one of the researchers. They know other tips and ways to help you retrieve it. If you can't after that, there is a last resort that is hypnosis. But when we run hypnosis, we have specific rules about it. We also run voice stress when we run hypnosis, and not so much for lie detection as for other things. And I'm not. It's just having a voice stress meter helps us to focus on particular things that are upsetting the contactee, things that they're stressing on. It helps show that to us and shows it to us in live time, which is nice. And they get a copy of all of that too, so it's all videotaped and audio taped. But we're very strict. One, you got to have somebody with you trust implicitly. The questions have to be determined prior to the show. I mean, prior to the hypnosis. Not using words like aliens, UFOs, spaceships. That's all stuff that has to come out of your mouth, not mine. Okay, you have to tell me about the alien. I can't tell you about the alien. You have to tell me about it. So I'll ask you, hey, Mary Lynn, what happened to you on May 27th of 1980? And at this time, and you'll proceed to tell me, and then I'll let you tell me forward, and I'll actually tell me backwards, and then we'll go over the questioning. We'll listen to that, and I may ask a couple of questions, but more than likely I will stop the tape, and then we will review the tape and set up another day for another session based on the information we gain from that session. That's how you do it correctly. All this other shit you hear in the abduction field is garbage the way they do it. They're doing harm to people's memories. They're jumping around. People tell me all the time, well, she hypnotized me in 20 minutes. Bullshit. Anyway, enough of that. Sorry. Maybe if you've hypnotized someone 3 or 4 times, you can do it 20 minutes. You can, yeah. For when you work with somebody on a regular basis, the more you hypnotize them, the faster it is because they're accepting that they trust you and there's things. But that's only for people who really trust you. Other than that, it takes a little effort to hypnotize someone. And don't ever tell me you're too smart to be hypnotized because the smarter you are, the easier it is to hypnotize you. Yes, I'm sorry to say that. Mm-hmm. Don't know what to tell you. Don't get all upset at me. I don't make the rules. So if you're dumb as dirt, you can't be hypnotized. I don't think that's true either, but it makes it a little harder. Mm. Well, because you want to know why it's easier to hypnotize straight. I mean, yeah, because they their brains are more focused. The more intelligent people, the more intelligent you are, usually the more focused you are. Not always, mind you. Sometimes you can still be scatterbrained, but usually they're a little bit more focused, a little bit more orientated in certain areas. So it makes it a little easier uh, to hypnotize them. Yeah, and a lot of times they do their research ahead of time, which also makes it easier to hypnotize. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, we got time for a few more. Let's see. Oh, so you're going on the Geraldo Rivera? That's copyright, man. You better be careful with that name. Anyway, Geraldo, what you got for us? You're a lifelong contactee. You're 45 years old. You found out when you were 20 that you're a lifelong contactee. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Who, do you mind me asking, who was your, oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. Uh, what name were you going under at the time? I see all the reports. Everyone crosses my desk. Sooner or later, they can't be approved to the database without me seeing them. I've seen every piece that's in there. Mhm. Oh, I don't have to read every piece because I got investigators for that. But you know what? Hold on. What? Can you text that to me? Hold on. Let me see. You know what? Let me access. Hold on a second. Shit. Let me send that in y'all's ear. Uh, First reported abduction to the organization in 2001. Jesse was your investigator. I see that. And you were handed over to Mary Lynn, who handed you over to. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they spent some serious time with you. Huh? You should join. Why don't you join? It doesn't show you as a member. You should join. You still can. No, we don't spam anybody. It's just. No, I appreciate it. So you contacted us and somebody got back with you and they probably told you that they needed you to talk to such and such because you needed to kind of let them understand and it progressed up till you got to who needed to investigate you. Yeah, I know exactly who did your hypnosis. I can see it right here in the thing. Hmm. Oh no, they passed. I didn't know you didn't know that. Yeah, they did about a year ago. I don't think it was a COVID. I'm sure COVID got blamed for it, but I don't think it was COVID. So I know. Well, no, I'm glad. I'm glad that they could help you. Well, that's what I'm saying. See, I see my sign off on the case right there. I can see my initials JPM on it. But actually, she's passed too. Angela Joyner passed this year. COVID. Yeah. Complications. COVID. Yeah, killed her. Her and her husband both died. Yeah, some shit, man. I liked Angela. Angela hosted for me. Angela was a good journalist. She was nosy, and that's what makes a good journalist. Yeah. No, I didn't know the two who you came in with. Yeah. Yeah. It shows Jason and Jesse. Well, that makes sense if you came in through Angela because that's who she'd have probably gave you to. She was friends with him. That's why. Yeah. 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 But anyway, getting back to the real stuff, and people are like, "Why is these two people chit chatting?" Um, so you've been dealing with that. So you're considered a contactee now, and you're dealing with it. You took the course, learned how to put the psychic abilities into your. I know, isn't that great? Learning that you can use that to help. So what do you do? You're a salesman. You're good, I imagine. You do pretty good for yourself. Yeah, I figured that. Well, because you can tell usually, when you're talking to someone, you can tell what their closing price is going to be, or if you're too high, too low, if you've got them, if you don't have them, if you've got to go to extra mile. Yeah, you'd be surprised, and quite a few contactees find themselves in positions, commission-based jobs, where they make good money. Because when you have that extra ability to know what someone's feeling or thinking or sensing, it makes it much easier to close a deal. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, but no, thanks for writing in. I appreciate it, man. No, we're still around. We're not going anywhere. No, we'll be around. Even when I'm gone, I'll still be here. There's lots of directors. Actually, now that you brought it up, the International Community for Family Research is in the middle of a complete restoration. Well, like anything, we've been around for 30 years now, so you get directors that get burned out, people got to be replaced, different things. The website's getting ready to be overhauled. But recently, I was requested by the board of directors about a name change. Uh, hey, I'm the spokesperson. I might have been one of the found. I'm the only founding member left that's still a member. They've all either two or three of them passed away, and the other one's retired. Yeah. No, there's lots of directors. I'm just the only original. No, they're still around, but they're just not in directors' jobs anymore. Yeah, they're still around though. So, well, I know it's hard in the beginning, and I know reading the footnotes in your case and all that you had some transitional problems, some pretty good ones from what I can see. Uh, to arrest for alcoholic abuse, stayed high for 2 years. This is your own admittance. Well, nobody knows because I haven't said who you are, your name was. I know. No, it's not uncommon for abductees to go through these kind of issues because either they're trying to find something or they're trying to bury it or hide it. They don't want to think about it. Hey, look, alcohol works good for that kind of stuff. It's not the way to go, but it does. When you're that far gone, it does help. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad you got with the group that could help you out. Yeah, I would imagine one of the first things they told you is you had to get your drinking under control and your drugs, or they weren't going to help you. No, it sounds just about what the organization would say. They made you sign a pledge. Yeah, Sarah, that's what I'm saying. Well, the pledge is if we're going to work with you, we're going to spend the amount. I don't want to say waste, but spend the amount of time we're going to do with the individual because we don't get paid for this or anything. We want to know they're serious and they're going to be involved. Yeah, and it doesn't always work out, but it does more times than not. People get upset about it sometimes. They want to they don't want to talk about it anymore. It aggravates them. So in your case, let me ask this: I know it said that you were married, got divorced, and I see the last notation in your case, which was about 4 years ago, said that you were engaged. So how'd that go? Wow, I see. I'm not going to say her name, but she left a notation that you took her advice and found someone who had been contacted. Is that true? Y'all married? Still married? Everything's good? Uh, one 2 year old and another one on the way. How's y'all's career? Everything's good. You both accepted. You both talk about it. You try to help other people when you can, and you get involved. That's all you can do, my friend. No, look, we're always looking for directors. I don't know if we got one in your area, so in your particular state, but well, I just said I've been cleaning house, so I got to go through and see who's who, what's what. That's right to me at iCarCox.net. Yeah. No, I give that one out on here. There's another email I'll give you when you write to me at that one. Yeah, I don't like giving my other one out because I get tired of too much email on this one. And the other one's it's a personal email. It's a really old email. It's like 35 years old. Yeah, it's been around for a while. But no, thanks for the comments and writing in. I appreciate it. Texturon Cordova Malus. Oh, I can't even say that, sweetie. Uh, oh, another testimony. Wow, I love y'all. Where are y'all coming from tonight? Oh, well, I know who you are. You're talking about the elevator in Stevensville, right? Oh, well, how you been? Yes, I know. I started your case. I know. It's rare that I start a case. Yeah. No, yours is very interesting, and I know recently your investigator was or your researcher was telling me some new stuff about y'all. Yeah, yeah. You know, it's interesting you said that because there's been some weird poltergeist shit going on with a couple of abductees lately. So we don't know if it's actual poltergeist, meaning something paranormal poltergeist, or if it's something that's being generated when aliens are present, leaving, or coming. You know what? There's a couple of experiments we can do to check on it. Matt, you know what I'll do? I'll write to your investigator and ask them to put it in. Well, I don't know if they had been briefed on it. That's something new we started doing about it. Well, year and a half. But not all the directors. It takes a little while to trickle through everybody. Well, better yet, ask them, and if they don't, just tell them to give me a call. They got my number, so they just give me a call. Yeah, no, it'll help you to well, it'll just help you through some of this and get some of this out. That's what we're here for. Like I said, we don't get paid at all in any shape, form, or fashion. We could do a lot more press if we wanted to, but our thing is we've always been an organization. We want people to know we exist, but we don't necessarily need to be on TV all the time or on the radio all the time. I mean, it is the reason the UFO Paranormal Radio Network got funded in the beginning and founded was so ICAR had technically United Public Radio belongs to the International Community Alien Research. It was founded for the fact that the organization needed a way to put out information without having to wait for invites on other radio shows or TV shows. These days, we've got millions of followers and all around the world, so it's easier for us to put out data through our own networks, which is assimilated by other networks because Uh, oh, I'm sorry, Marissa. Yeah, I was. I was supposed to be on his show today. We had internet issues. Well, I had a Australian interview today and a UK interview today, but we had a storm come through, and we thought about doing them over the phone, but phones are just not as good as the audio we have from there. So anyway, one of them set up for next Wednesday during the day around noon, and the following set up for Saturday earlier in the day. But I'll post to the page so y'all can find them and come listen. One's going to be about alien abductions in other countries. It's countries we specialize in, like Australia. And one's going to be on contact. Well, it's going to be on whatever the hosts want to talk about. I mean, it's up to them, really. But that's the conversations we're going to be driving, if that's what you're asking. That is my frog who likes to be on the air with us sometimes. I don't. No, you mean you talking about COVID-19, right? Yeah. No, I don't know why the aliens would interfere with that. They never interfered with any other thing, the Black Plague or the Spanish flu or any of that. They've never stopped things like Fukushima. Yeah, yeah. I mean, Fukushima's still leaking. We've had Nagasaki, Hiroshima. We nuked. They didn't care about that so much. Chernobyl, 3 Mile Island. They don't. They don't. Yeah. So they didn't stop that. I don't know why they would stop. They don't stop the Aryan flu or any of that stuff. So I think that's left up to us to take care of. That falls on the human domain. What do you mean? Because you think the virus was created? It might have been. I'm not going to argue with that. And that's not what the show's about tonight. That we will be tackling that in a couple of weeks on the Centralist. Right now, matter of fact, actually, I think we're tackling it this Friday on the Centralist. Actually, we're going to be tackling the Wuhan stuff. Well, in the beginning, we because we've got feet in the ground in Wuhan. Yeah, we actually got people there on the ground. We had pictures and videos. We were playing coming out of Wuhan and Beijing long before any mainstream media had them. I mean, we're talking months. Matter of fact, now I ain't going to tell you who it was, but two media organizations contacted me to use them. I made them pay for it, by the way, but still. Yeah, we had people that actually videotape them. And what was great about it is a couple of them were working the clean crews and stuff, so they had permission to be out and about. Oh yeah, I can't get into it on the show because it's not what this is about. But I will this Friday tune into the Centralist. It's 9 to 11 p.m. We'll talk about it. Yeah. Oh, you mean John and Emily are not going to be on the Centralist? They're going to be on Science and Beyond. Well, one week it'll be Science and Beyond. One week it'll be the Centralist. No politics there. not on those 2 nights with them. This Friday will be politics. Yeah, so y'all can come check it out. And we'll be discussing what we'll be discussing. The show opener is why did the it's about the media in Wuhan, and that's all I can really say tonight. But be sure to tune in, and I'll tell y'all about that. And again, to answer your question, I don't think ET even paid any attention. Well, let me put it this way: abductions didn't stop because of the flu. I mean, of the COVID. How's that? Nope, didn't even slow it down. I don't even didn't even. Apparently, they're not weren't worried about getting infected, or apparently it didn't infect them, or can infect them. I don't know what it is really. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I seen that. I did see that. The reporter in Mexico that was talking about Camilla turned out to be a stage. But yeah, I did see that. But that's not for this show either. That'll be on this. On this. What? Okay, English. No politics on this show. No politics. No, this has always been a no political show. Only unless it ties into extraterrestrial contact do we talk about politics or religion for that matter. When they directly tie in, we do. Like when I was talking about the poltergeist stuff earlier, there's some weird thing going on with contactees, not abductees. These are contactees, and for some reason, a handful of them are having weird poltergeist events in their house. It could be because of increased activity or abductions or something like that. Because sometimes when there's a lot of activity, where they're abducting you daily or bi-weekly or I mean bi-daily or something, sometimes it manifests that way because it leaves like a residual charge behind. Yeah, so it forms like a poltergeist event. Now, it's not like a parent. They're just poltergeist events. Shit starts moving around on its own stuff, jumping off of cabinets and stuff like that. But there's no evil intelligence behind it or anything like that. It's not like a paranormal poltergeist. I mean, you can't really tell the difference unless something's speaking or something. But in these cases, it's usually just some kind of energy left behind. Yeah. But for some reason or another, right now, there's a bunch of a good 2 or 3% of abductees are having this experience. I wish I knew what it was. And I did talk with some of my paranormal friends, researchers friends. It's one of the nice things about owning this station. I've made so many friends in ufology and abduction research and the paranormal fields over the years that I can cheat. That's like I was talking with Michelle and Amelia that day. Like, you want us to cleanse your house? I'm like, no, not yet. It might be something I want to keep. Just calm down here. Hold on, hold on. But we do have those kind of sources to go back on if we need help. So, and we got other people in the network and other friends around. That could Christina, it is the Gray Zone Uncensored. It is on Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. And Michelle DeRochier and myself host the show. Right now it is disclosure, but we got 3 weeks left in disclosure, and then we're back into we do a lot of different stuff. We don't. It's not a set show as far. It's a variety show for all kind of stuff. I know I was saying earlier in the show I wanted to talk to her about unexplained events. I'd like to do 2 shows upcoming on unexplained events, things that our science has not been able to explain yet. Well, the main reason why is I seen something on YouTube early today and it was stupid. That's how I got into this, by the way. To be totally honest with you, the reason I got in, so umpteen million years ago, I had been doing alien research. And one day I'm online and I was doing some tarot card readings for some, yeah, I still do some for some really fairly famous people, but I was doing readings and I met this guy, Ariel St. Sinclair. And he was going on and on about these aliens doing this and doing that. Now, at this time, I was about, I don't know, 12, 14 years into research. And everything he was saying just sounded like bogus crap to me. And it kept on and kept on. It was getting a pretty good following on Yahoo. Yahoo used to have chat rooms back in the day. So I came into his room. Him and I got into it on multiple occasions. So I decided this is bullshit. Somebody needs to correct this crap. So I met these people, November Hands and G. Scott, a bunch of other people, and they went in a chat room. Cosmic Consciousness is what it was called. And I used to come by and hang out with him and talk to him. So we decided we were going to open a new chat room, UFO Alien Phenomena, which still exists today, by the way. It would start out as a chat room, and then it turned into a support group for abductees and contactees. The chat room itself is, what is it now? 26 years old, 20, 25, 26 years old, somewhere around there. But, we used to have a lot of people coming in and talking. That's where we'd meet them. And and send them over. And it was a great place to meet people and source information and work with people and help them, through things. And but you used to get so many of these. There's always going to be somebody who doesn't believe, or somebody who doesn't agree, or somebody who just wants to be disruptive in general. It was one of the reasons we were glad Pal Talk was invented, because it gave us admin controls of the chat rooms, so you could start getting rid of people like that. But in the end, we're searching for people who've had contact. That's what we're looking for. We want to know people who have had real contact, whether it's an abduction, whether they're contactees, or whether it's something higher up the ladder, like a keeper, or like a keeper, or a communicator, or one of the others. They get out into the general public and spread the word. And remember this too, ladies and gentlemen: just because someone's telling you that this is the word of the alien doesn't actually mean it is. Okay, I don't want to be rude about it, but contactees have a tendency sometimes to, how can I say this politely, ad lib. Yeah, because we don't understand everything we see or hear, for that matter. Because a lot of things get entered in our head that just doesn't make sense to us. We see things on board craft that just doesn't. Two and two is not making four; it's making like 40. We just don't understand some of the stuff that's shown to us. So we add that. It's like seeing a face in a fire and making it into a face you recognize. Yeah, it's your brain's way of keeping you sane. Yeah, well, it's a shame it works that way, but it does. You mean, oh, Francesca, I haven't seen you in a while. Where you been hiding? You still working for NBC? Tell tell Mad Cal Matto I said hi. No, by the way, they still haven't let me in to do that interview. I still got it. They got it too. They got the lock key for it. I don't. They paid me not to air it. But anyway, enough about that. That's not for this show either, ladies and gentlemen. It's another show y'all can ask me about on one of the news shows. So, how you been doing? Good, 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 good. When? So, what you're telling me? So, you were on location 4 years ago in Iran, right? 5 years ago. Okay. Obama was still president. Yeah, 5 years ago. All right. What? Oh, I'm not going to ask. No, I was going to ask you what you were doing there, but anyway, I'm not going to ask. So basically, you were there as a reporter for NBC. Oh, y'all were there for the turnover. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I'm not going to get into that either, because that the turnover thing is a whole sore spot with a lot of Americans. Yeah, but anyway, so you witnessed it there, square like a board cube. But so what you thinking? It's 100 yards by 100 yards by 100 yards. That's pretty big. I mean, it's not huge, but it's pretty big. The size of an aircraft carrier, at least, maybe a little bigger. Just hovering over their main city. What do you mean? Everybody was acting like they had seen it before. You know what? You need to, just because I got to go, because I got to turn this over to the outer realm. But send me the whole report. Yeah, no, I'll call you. We'll talk about this another time, maybe over the weekend. No, I'd like to hear more about it, but I ain't got the time right now. 5 minutes till, 4 minutes till, actually, so I got to go. Coming up next, guys, the Outer Realm with L.A. Mazzulli's on with him tonight, so y'all should enjoy. He's always a blast for a lot of information. He's been on and off this network more times than I can count. More times than I have fingers and toes to count with, for that matter. I have to break out the calculator. On that note, I want to thank everyone for. I see there's a lot of more testimonials tonight. It was nice to see y'all show up tonight. I didn't know who was going to show up tonight. I see quite a few more questions in here, so we'll get that next week. Remember, people, use the YouTube chat room. That's why I started including the link with the advert, so y'all can use it, so y'all can pop right in there, and it's easier for me to take questions there, because right now I've got an email open, two chat rooms, and StreamYard open, so it gets a little confusing, and sometimes I forget who the hell I'm talking about. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff that'll be on this show, on the Centralist this week. A lot of hardcore politics will be going over, from Como to Newsom to what Biden's doing in Europe right now, to where the economy is, to who's paying what. Talk about a little bit of Russia, China. Yeah, we do real news, hardcore news usually. I've always been bipartisan. That's why it's a centralist. Sometimes I hate on the Democrats. Sometimes I hate on the Republicans. Sometimes I just generally hate on all of them. Every now and then I got something good to say about them. Not often. I just say it's not often. But on a note, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to United Public Radio, UFO Undercover, and UFO Paranormal Radio, which is back in full swing these days. You can find us on YouTube, Twitch, SoundCloud, LinkedIn, anywhere that there is podcasts alive, from iHeart to Spotify to anything in between. We're there, iTunes, the whole nine yards. There is nowhere out there you can't find us. Type in UFO Paranormal Radio or United Public Radio or whatever show name you are looking for, and you will find us on multiple venues. On that note, again, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to United Public Radio, UFO Undercover. I am your host, Joe Montaldo, and good night.